Welcome to the network. Welcome to the Two Dads edition. Wait,
That's not it.
start again.
Two Dads, Gen X edition. Hey, Dawson.
Why are you yelling at me, James?
I wanted to ask you a question.
James.
How did you like my accountant today?
He was great. It really kind of made me have some anxiety about my finances.
It made you have anxiety?
I did. I was like, son of a bitch. I was like, I'm not doing good.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about today is anxiety about money and how we're handling it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
No, but going to the accountant it really opened my eyes to some of the things that I was doing wrong.
Yeah.
So today what we're talking about is the anxiety over money, but we really want to talk about what the struggle is, how we kill that anxiety, how you and I kill it, because it's wonderful. But like what we're doing now that we've gotten to the ripe old age of 48, and then what we're planning in the future, how we're building in the future.
So when you say ripe,
Ripe?
like when I poke you, are you ready?
Sure.
To make some money.
So how do you feel about your finances?
Oh, crap. I mean, most of my life I've been on a roller coaster.
Yeah.
Grew up pretty poor, kind of dealing with that kind of stuff. Didn't really have really good education. I think that's one thing high schools are failing at, and our kids is not teaching them like actual budgets. Like, hey, you did a little checkbook.
No financial intelligence at all.
At all.
Yeah.
It's like you get a little checkbook in fifth grade, and you run a little store, and you budget that checkbook.
They don't do that anymore.
38 cents. I mean, it's just stupid. And so, I think true economics. I think economics in college basically teaches you kind of like the Rockefeller way, in my opinion.
Yeah,
not the people that
micro theories.
Doesn't actually help you learn how to budget, save, plan ahead. And so now in my life, funny, it's like you're starting over every time, major events. So it's like you start over with your marriage. It's like the first marriage, doing the ups and downs with that and trying to navigate that crap and get on board on the same thing, which was a big component that destroyed us. And then you get divorced and you start again,
right?
And you try to have that budget and you're struggling through there. And then being a nurse during COVID, I had a surplus, and luckily I got out of debt.
I've never had a surplus.
It was I worked 6 days a week to do it, but
right.
But it was nice to get out of the debt and catch up. And I like following a lot of those things, like the snowball effect, where you pay the lowest or the highest interest first, and you take that money and trickle down kind of thing, which we're going to talk about later.
Yeah. When I've raised kids, right? So we both raised kids. I never had extra money. I made okay money, but I make more money now. But like I didn't have anything left over because there were always expenses, and I always felt like I was failing. One of the things that defines us as a man is how are we doing supporting our families?
Yeah.
How much money do we make? Right? You see all the social media like videos of women that are like, I need a guy who's 6'5", 6-figure salary, 6-pack, all that stupidity.
At age 24.
And 24 years old, yeah.
It's like, no, it's not happening.
But it's
I mean, it does nowadays. But
well, and I thought I failed for a long time, but I also, I grew up different than you. My dad was an attorney, and so like, I thought that they were doing well, and they did. I mean, my dad made pretty good money, but I learned something when I was like 26, 27 years old. I learned that my dad didn't really have any retirement until he was 50-ish. Because he was paying for all of us. I mean, college and weddings and all that kind of stuff. And, and then he had staff that he paid for and all that kind of thing. But, so yeah, he made good money, but it was all going out.
Yeah.
And so when I found out that he didn't really have a retirement until he was in early 50s, I started thinking, okay, well, maybe I'm not doing so bad.
Yeah, not bad at all. Yeah, my parents didn't have anything. They still don't have anything. So definitely doing better than them.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of sad because they say if you have $10 in your wallet, you're doing better than most. Like, I think it's like 78% of Americans.
Yeah.
If you have $10 in your wallet, I'm like, holy crap.
What if it's like $40 in my wallet, but $100,000 of consumer debt?
Even better. I don't know math for that. That's not a good ratio.
But yeah, I mean, it's like that late start. I felt like I was just behind.
Yeah.
Just way behind the power. Because they always talk about like, oh, if you invest this much every year for, until you're 40 or 50, even, you're supposed to put $5,000 a year into a Roth IRA or a 401k or whatever. I've never been able to do that.
Yeah.
And so I felt like I failed for a long, long time because of it.
Well, and I think for me, I had my brokerage firm when I was switching from respiratory to nursing. They were supposed to roll it over, and they cashed it out. So my whole retirement, and it sucks because I lost half automatically to taxes, and I got penalties, and then all brokerage fees. So I think I ultimately ended up with only like 12% of that money of all of it. And it sucked because I lost a lot because of that mistake. And that's where I kind of wish you could fucking sue their ass for negligence, because it's like my paper literally says, roll over to this Roth IRA, and they just cashed it out. And it's just frustrating. And I think
probably could, but I mean, there's a statute of limitations, I'm sure.
And it's just one of those things that it's just, again, it goes back to not being taught, how to do that kind of stuff and retire. And because, in my opinion, they don't want people to retire and save, because they want you to be paycheck to paycheck, and the government loves that.
Yeah. So when you were younger, as you were becoming an adult and in your 20s and stuff like that, what did you think you were going to be able to build for retirement? When did you think you could retire, and what did you want it to look like?
So I really didn't have any clue, kind of thing, and I think it was my first job at the Buckle. And once I kind of moved up to assistant manager, that's where Bob, my boss, was like, "What's your retirement look like? How much you putting in? If you're not doing 4%, you're failing,
Right.
Or really you're making all this extra money, do 10, 15, save it." And I was like, "Well, okay, what do I do?" And he just kind of half-ass showed me, and I didn't realize you could change what you invest in your portfolio and make all those adjustments. I'm still not really good at that in general. High risk, low reward, or whatever.
Yeah.
As you can tell, I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's I had the idea that I'd be able to retire before I was like 50, and I'd be a multimillionaire. And I was like, "Oh, I'm going to start businesses. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that." And yeah, it never happened.
Well, and it goes back to that support. When you have a spouse that's not supportive, very pigeonholed in their view, I guess selfishly they want their way. And, we've talked about in other podcasts how you're always, let's build wealth together and grow. And she's like, well, I need these standards. And you set those standards. And then you wanted to go the next step with businesses. And she's like, oh, no, we're not doing that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
it was actually really frustrating for me. Yeah. Really frustrating for me.
And so it's just like, it's hard to achieve or build when you don't have a partner that supports that.
And I made the mistake of, and I had this realization a while back. I can't remember if I said it in an earlier podcast or not, but I had the idea that I wanted to build all these things, but I needed a partner that was going to be a part of it and support it and all that kind of stuff to be able to build it. And, both marriages, that's what I was hoping for, never came to fruition. I got some verbal support in the second marriage, but then, I felt like it didn't get the actual support, rubber didn't meet the road kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so after that second divorce and after, a while of being single again, it's like, you know what, screw it. I'm going to do this no matter what. And if I'm able to find somebody who joins me and supports it and we get to do it together, great. But otherwise I'm building a life for myself. And so it's like this, it's a late start, but better late than never, I think.
Well, financial people will tell you that.
Yeah.
Anytime's a good time to start. Just start sooner, though.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, then you're gonna have nothing, and it just sucks. And it was kind of funny is corporations now kind of force you into, like, I know with healthcare, you have to sign a crap ton of documents to opt out of retiring, saving for retirement, and it's like almost an act of God to like not have to, put into a 401k. Because I think it benefits them too, but
well, and I mean, really, I think that there's a lot of misunderstanding about money. And so I think one of the biggest ways, moving on to, this kind of brings us to our next topic, but how do we kill the anxiety of finances and money? Because I think most people misunderstand it big time. Yeah. And so I don't have so much anxiety anymore. I mean, I'm still broke, but I'm hopeful. I've got goals that we're working towards and I'm working towards, all that kind of stuff. And it's like, part of what did that was looking at what I could actually manage. Where was I financially? After my first marriage, one of the things that my first wife actually said to me when we separated, because she managed all the finances. I was a sole provider, but she paid all the bills, all that kind of stuff. And when we separated, she told me, she was like, "You're going to go bankrupt because you don't know how to manage money." And I hadn't managed the money, and not that I couldn't, but I just hadn't done it with. That was kind of the balance, right?
Yeah.
But as I started off on my own and I started paying my own bills, and I got another house and all this other stuff, all of a sudden I had extra cash. And so I started a spreadsheet to where I could track like how much money was coming in, what were my bills, that kind of thing, groceries, that kind of stuff. And it's kind of ballooned into this massive,
I know, I saw it. I was
anal
like,
retentive spreadsheet.
I never when I saw that spreadsheet, I was like, what the fuck? Like, I got anxiety just looking at it. I was like, well, dude, you even have when you take a crap and how much the toilet paper square costs. I mean, what the hell?
Pretty close. It's almost that detailed. But
I mean, you're like, no, Seinfeld, spare the square with you. It's like, no, that's 12 cents, man. That's I gotta save up for a week for that.
No, I splurge on good toilet paper. But because there were years where it was like the Always Save brand everything, and it's
Sandpaper.
Good enough, but it tastes like crap or it feels like crap. Whatever.
You eat toilet paper?
No, like soup.
Oh.
Things like
We're talking about toilet paper.
Campbell's was $1, and Always Save was.
He said it tastes like crap. I don't know what he's talking about.
If you're eating the toilet paper that you just used, it probably tastes like crap.
That could be an indication.
If you get like chicken noodle soup that's Campbell's and chicken noodle soup that's the Save brand, they're totally different. But when you're broke,
Campbell's just said
he said it
fake
tastes
meat.
like crap.
But if it's 25-30 cents as opposed to $1, you go for when you're broke, you go for the cheaper. So I splurge on certain things now. But with that spreadsheet that I have, it's like it's got categories, it calculates. I've got all the little like calculations that automatically go. But I trust that more than my budget or than my bank account statement.
Yeah, because
my bank account statement doesn't show immediately when I buy something sometimes, because it might take a day or two to hit because it's a weekend or whatever. Maybe the company that I bought something through, they don't actually do the transaction for a day or two. And so my balance, what I found in the past is my balance wouldn't accurately show what I have. And then all of a sudden I buy something and I'm $25 over and I get all those fees.
Yeah.
Overdraft fees, whatever. That sucks,
Yeah, actually I kind of figured that out too. Cause like with Amazon, sometimes if the item's like back ordered or whatever,
they don't charge you for it right away.
Yeah. And I didn't know that. And so like last Christmas I bought all this stuff. And I'm like, where's this coming out? And well, then eventually
then it all hits.
Come out. I think I had like 38 cents. I was like, son of a bitch.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, man, what is this? It was something I ordered like January. It didn't come out till March. So it's like, but yeah, it's, I've noticed when I was doing the budget for, our company, I was like, man, half this stuff wouldn't hit for 4 or 5 days on my bank account.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I had one that was actually 18 days later. But it was like where I got gas. And so I thought I got double charged. And so I'm like going through and I'm like, oh shit, maybe it's just reposted really late. That's really weird.
Yeah. But that's one thing I am able to see by doing this budget. I have every single bill, whether it's a utility bill, the mortgage, internet, streaming services, whatever. But then I have my categories like I have gas and groceries, eating out, work expenses, all that stuff. And then this is how anal retentive I am. Nice Freudian term. I have it color coded too.
Well, I mean, I think that's actually good though, because like I have mine by month. Mm-hmm. And really this kind of goes to that first step of how to kill that anxiety. It really is looking at your bank statements and doing that budget, writing it down. Because I think a lot of people don't realize how much money you can spend on microtransactions.
Yep.
And, we jokingly talked during COVID. I think I had so much extra cash on hand, and I paid all this debt off and everything. And I kicked myself because, I played a little game called Marvel Strike Force, and it was all those $2.99, $5.99, get the characters up. And I was in a guild that you had to like keep up. Mm-hmm. And later on, I found out like the head of the guild basically spent $1.5 to $2 million a year on that game. I was like, what? But he also had the max of everything.
That's
all
why.
the time, kind of thing. And I'm like, man. So I sat down one day. I was like, I went through just the whole year, and I was like, holy crap, I've spent so much money that I could have bought a car, kind of thing. And
on a freaking video game.
Yeah, nothing in return, nothing back. I mean, it's entertainment, and that's how I justified it for a long time. But so then I actually set a budget. I'm like, okay, I'm only going to do this much money. I think I said $100 because I was like, I can do 100,
Yeah.
a month. Well, suddenly I can't keep up, and I get kicked out of the guild and all this stuff. And I'm like, screw it, and I just sold it for like $1,300 the account.
Well, and that's how those companies make money. Is
That's all the pay to win. I hate those games.
Yeah, but yeah, so like doing that budget, being able to see, and this is where the anxiety going away kind of helps out. Is I get to see exactly where the money's going, so that I can actually make changes. If you didn't realize how much money you were spending on that video game.
Yeah.
Same thing applies to groceries, or going to the movies or whatever, buying stuff on Amazon.
Yeah.
But it's like if I don't know how much is actually going out each month, and if you're tracking your budget, if you're doing it once a week, you don't actually get a good picture. It has to be like daily or every other day, something like that, unless you're like not spending anything. But even then you got, automatic bills that come out sometimes that you got to track too. But by seeing it, I was able to make changes to how I spent money. Like there was a month, this is like 2 years ago now, and I was in my second marriage, and I'm going through the budget, and there's like Sam's Club and Price Chopper and these grocery stores where it's at the end of the month, it was like $2,100 worth of food.
Yeah, and I'm
for
like
4 people, and
so
like $500 of eating out too.
Yeah,
so it's like $2,700 of food for the month for 5 people.
Do you have a second family or something?
Right? No. But see, and this is where the frustration came, is that wasn't me spending that money. That was my wife at the time who, and this is in talking through this, because when I saw that, I was like, I don't make enough to do this all the time. What's going on here? And she wouldn't be sure if we had something or not. And so she would default to just buying again. It's like, oh, I don't know if we have ketchup. Those microtransactions, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if we're out. So she would just buy another bottle of ketchup for $3. And then it would be this and then that. And so it was like,
is that why upstairs you got like 17 bottles of ketchup?
I'm trying to work through them. I don't want to buy any more.
I'm like, do you have stock in ketchup?
I know, right?
Heinz.
Right. But that's what it does, is I was able to see, holy crap, how did we spend this kind of money? We need to be a lot more aware of what we're doing, because this is not sustainable, right? And that takes the anxiety away of the finances, as you know exactly where you are. And then the other thing that I do too is I have a minimum balance, minimum budget. This is what I need. So like as a therapist, I get paid per client, right?
Right.
And so I get a rough amount, same, it fluctuates a little bit. I've got some clients that they pay cash, but it's less. And then I get insurance, and insurance companies pay different amounts, things like that, and those that pay full cash price, okay, it all averages out, right? And then I have a split with the private practice that I'm with. And so for me to be able to pay all my bills, I have a minimum number of clients that I need to see each week for me to get that paycheck that then sustains everything I need. Anything above that, okay, I got extra money, but that's like the minimum bills. I wouldn't know that if I didn't have this budget spreadsheet process, because then I put in like what my anticipated expenses are. My electric bill is going to be this much, give or take, every month. I have solar panels, so it's like $16.
Hate you.
Well, no,
it's like $323.
I pay for the solar panels, so yeah. So, but it's like, how do I level everything out? You have the level pay for like the gas company, electric company. That just helps stabilize, so you don't have these $500 months. Yeah. That creating that base. Now I get to compare that to what I actually make. If I'm breaking even, I got to do something different. But if my base is below what I make, now I've got breathing room. The anxiety gets to be, a lot less. And then, like a month and a half ago or so, when I had my hernia surgery, it's like I took a week off, or I took 3 days off, 4 days off. And then I took time off between Christmas and New Year's. I get to look at how many clients am I having in that pay period, and am I going to be okay?
Yeah.
So I get a much clearer picture of the finances, and that I'm managing it well, right? even though I've got a ton of debt.
Well, and it's hard because, when I was a travel nurse, you get paid every week. And
Yeah.
so it was nice because you never had to stretch because you're like, oh, okay, because it was actually easier, I think, to budget when you get paid every week.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Like, okay, cool. My mortgage is this. I could take, a fourth out every check. So I was never getting big chunks taken out. And so I could just micro and do really well with that. And so going back to working in a hospital, getting paid every 2 weeks, it was killing me. It was like so hard to budget because it's like, oh man, I need this, and I'm still working on it. And the only nice thing is they have a program, daily pay, where if something comes up, you can pull from your next check to kind of help pay for that. And so for a while there, I was like pulling for the next one and the next one.
Trying to play catch up, right?
Yeah, and it's just like, but I'm the same way. I figured out that, okay, I have to work 3 days to just max equal my budget.
Yeah.
And then if I want any play money or
and it's not like
anything,
6 hours every day for 3 days. It's like, what, 12-hour shifts?
12-hour shifts. Well, 13 ultimately,
Yeah.
And so you're like, okay, if I pick up one extra day, then I have, going out money, and if something bad happens, I can hopefully pay for that or catch up with kind of stuff. So,
Gotta have that ketchup on hand.
Yeah, a lot of catch up.
That's what I'm doing, is playing catch up.
Well, yeah, and you go back to, I think after my divorce, we went from making a crap ton of money to, because I was still in nursing school, and I think that year I only made like $20,000. And so it was cool because I got a Kansas Care because I was barely making anything, and I was separated, and so I'd actually have to go to Aldi's for my vegetables, go to a meat market for my meats, basically nickel and dime like you have to in America when you're lower middle class and poor. And I think that was a big slap in the face for me because it's like, I don't want to live like my mom did, man.
Yeah.
I don't want to live like that. It sucks living paycheck to paycheck. But I do like when you're getting out of debt and you're paying your debt down. That's one thing Gordon Ramsay says is you should have almost at $0 the day before you get paid, because then you maximized every penny.
Right.
Kind of thing.
Well, I don't know if I'm maxing it the way that he intends, but I'm maxing it.
Well, that's to get out of debt. Like once
Right,
you're out of debt,
right.
then really your income to save ratio should be 75-25. So you should at least be saving 25% of that money.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest mistake people make when they get raises is they increase their spend cap, when really you should just increase your save cap and learning to live in a lower budget. And
Yeah.
and
It's
really
like Biggie says, more money, more problems, right?
that's yeah.
Yeah. Well, and that's where like, shifting from that, the anxiety, how do we manage the anxiety over money, into what are we doing now? Because we've now lived some life, right? We got a couple of years under our belts now, getting mature, well refined,
like a bad wine,
sort of.
a stinky wine.
But that next section of like, what are we doing now? And so one of the things that I am working on is, there was that you had to, bring the budget out of the darkness into the light. What's that?
I just realized I said Gordon Ramsay, not Dave Ramsey.
Gordon Ramsay's a great chef. Although his mom criticized one of his dishes. I don't know if you saw that video.
No, sorry.
They're like comparing her classic recipe to his version of it. And she looks at it and she goes, "It's undercooked." And he's like, "What?" "Oh, yeah, it is."
That's funny.
But, yeah, the movie, totally aside, but the movie Nona's? Have you seen that?
No.
It's a guy in Jersey I think it was Jersey anyway, Staten Island, whatever, right around there. He took the Italian moms and made them the chefs, and it's all these classic home dishes. Yeah, it was a great movie. Anyway, so that, I had to get an idea of where is my money going? How am I managing my money? Am I making enough? Am I falling behind? Whatever it is, taking that fear of not knowing out of the darkness. But like now, I don't, because of the debt that I carry. And in large part, a lot of the debt that I carry is because of the divorces.
Yeah.
In my first divorce, I basically got all the debt. A second divorce, I carried pretty much all of the debt because I wasn't trying to screw them over. I was, trying to be the nice guy, right?
Yeah.
We talked about that before. But now my budget is such where it's like I have a buffer, but I can't, it's like I pay things down and then another thing comes up that I need to pay for. And so in my second divorce, I took on $80,000 debt, not including the house, as long as I got the house.
Yeah.
Because I bought my house with like below market value. It was out of date, needed updating, all that kind of stuff. And so I'm renovating this house as a live-in flip because I know I can get a lot of equity out of it. And my hope is that with that equity, when I sell the house in, a year-ish, once I'm done with everything, depending on where the market is, I can pay off all that consumer debt and start fresh.
Yeah.
So that's my plan because
it's 75.
What's that?
At 75.
At 75. Yeah. Well, and I don't think of buying a house as like a forever home and I'm paying off a 30-year mortgage. Screw that. I don't care about that because I want to be able to maximize the benefit. So I don't buy houses at full price. I always buy them below market value because they always need work. They're always out of date. There's something wrong with it, whatever, because I know I can get it for below what it could potentially be worth. And I put in the sweat equity and make it worth more. And I mean, that's how I paid for the very, very expensive first divorce. Was a few years later, I sold a house that had jumped up in value $120,000, $130,000 and was able to pay off that debt of $100 and some odd thousand.
It's like, oh my gosh.
He also sold his stock of ketchup. Like that's what the real
stock in what?
Ketchup, not
in
stock.
Ketchup. Yeah.
You had 30,000 bottles of ketchup you sold, which
that's,
his left nut, right kidney,
pretty much
ketchup.
But that's what I'm doing again is like I've got, besides the house, it's close to $100,000, and so as long as I can get 80, 90, $100,000 of equity, then I can almost wipe it all away and start fresh
with that triple ply toilet paper.
But then the other thing I'm doing is
wipe it away.
I do like triple ply. But the other thing I'm doing is, building other streams potentially where, hopefully in the next year or two, I'm making more money than just my income as a therapist. That's when it really starts to change. That's the goal. Well, so what are you doing different? How are you moving forward?
Oh, try not to buy the Legos.
Yeah, you brought some Legos in.
I know, man. I can put in a DeLorean, buddy. No, I think the big thing is I ask myself, do I really need this, or do I want it? I think the middle class and poor focus on the wants versus the needs. I think that's why you see a rundown house with a brand new sports car or whatever, and you're like, dude, what the hell? How can you afford that? Well, because they're putting their money on things, kind of stuff. And I think I've actually just switched to like, I'd rather put that money towards experiences and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think the big thing for me is doing the budget, writing it down, seeing where the money's going so that I'm more aware of where the money's going. I think that's why it's important to do that weekly budget, and get to where you do it daily kind of thing where you're at, which is kind of funny. Like my philosophy is if I'm working, I'm not spending, because when you're in a hospital, you can't go spend money.
Right.
Unless you go to the gift shop, which people do that. It blows my mind how much they spend on the gift shop stuff.
Yeah.
But so it's like, if I'm struggling with money or I'm kind of broke, I'm like, I'm just going to work, because if I work, I don't spend any money. When I'm home, I look at the house. I need to fix this. I'm bored. I got to get this done. I mean, I spent almost $10,000 this year just fixing the house on things that broke and stuff like that. Well, that's not something people generally budget for when you own a house.
Yeah.
That's why new home buyers, they don't think of that kind of stuff. And the great thing is in a couple of weeks, we're going to have one of our retail friends come in here and actually talk about, when you're buying a house, what to do and what to look for. So,
Mike,
come join us that episode, guys.
Great real estate agent. We're going to have him on. It's going to be good.
So I think for me, when I started actually doing that and writing it down, and I really realized how much I moved away from that when I started doing this stuff for our company. And I'm like, oh man. But it was like eye-opening as I was going through. I'm like, oh man, I really did spend a lot on this and that. And then I'm like, whoo, yeah. And I think I found 3 subscriptions that I doubled up. So I was like, well, there you go. I'll get rid of that. There's there's $35.
That's one thing that I'm looking into, because I've got like 3 or 4 of the streaming services, but it's like Prime and Hulu and all these other, like Hulu's like $90 a month, $100 a month now.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
And so I'm considering like getting rid of pretty much all of them for a few months just to save that little bit.
Well, and it's funny with this, and that's one of the other things that I do now too, is I used to every 2 months deactivate and reactivate. So I'd like, okay, I'll do Netflix for 2 months.
Yeah, you kind of rotate
turn it
through
off, do Disney Plus, catch up on the shows, get rid of that.
Yeah.
Kind of stuff. And that's kind of how I survived after my divorce, because it's like I gotta watch stuff and then I'd flip it over. But that's back when stuff was $9.99 or $6.99.
Right.
Right. And Disney and
Like
Netflix are just buying everything that you're almost
micro purchases.
Well, it's so funny because people like would get pissed off about cable TV and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it was 140, 130. I think the max was like 190 if you had all the movie channels and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know how much people spend now on streaming service on average? It's like $390 on streaming services.
You want to know how much I have my spreadsheet up right now actually. So for Netflix it's $18. For Hulu it's $90. For my cell phone, that's another big expense people pay for anymore.
Yeah.
It's like $70 because I paid off the phones. But then there's Amazon Prime is $17 almost. Apple, all these other ones. So it's like $250.
Yeah,
$300 when you include the cell phone.
I spent $1,800 on just subscriptions last year. That's crazy. I mean, that's insane.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of funny because when you think about how much time you actually watch it, I'm like, man, I only watch it like I guess really just before bed. So maybe 2 hours a day. I mean, there's people at work that sit there and watch shows the whole time.
Yeah.
And they're going off and doing stuff, but their phone's still going. And I'm like, all right, whatever.
We are a digital society. Everything is, I mean, Australia got rid of all social media for kids.
I think that's a great thing. I think it's a good thing.
There's a part of me that's like, oh, why would you control things so much? But at the same time, it's like, that's not a bad idea.
I mean, that's a whole other topic.
Yeah. One of the things that I'm also doing too, like, because I struggled a lot with the finances, not struggled like, I mean, I went bankrupt in 2007, but that was more because of just unexpected medical bills that just piled up and piled up. 5 kids. My first wife, she was on bed rest with her last one for like 4 months because she was in late, like she was having regular contractions every like 4 minutes for 3 months.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. Pretty painful for her. And my heart went out to her at the time and all that, but like, and then she had a hysterectomy and the recovery lasted a long time too. At this point, I think she milked it a little bit, but that's just my opinion. But it's like during that time, all of my kids got sick. One of my kids, they like took ultrasound pictures of like her lymphatic system and all her organs. And it's like $75 a picture. And they're like 250 pictures. And I didn't have insurance at the time.
Oh yeah.
So it was primarily medical bills that caused the bankruptcy. Yeah. But because of all of those experiences with my kids as they've gotten older and gotten to be adults, I want to help them out, but I also don't want to enable them. And that's one of the hard things to balance as a parent sometimes is, we want to help them get their first car potentially, or we want them to go to college and, college is expensive. And so, but I haven't had the money for that.
Yeah.
And so one of the processes that I've kind of done is that I've done in kind of managing my finances is I've actually shown my kids my budget. They see how much money I make, but they also see how much money I spend.
Yeah.
And all the places that it goes. One of the things that I taught them was, if we want to go on vacation, it's going to cost, $3,000, $4,000, whatever it is, because we don't go on expensive vacations. But like that money has to come from somewhere.
Yeah.
So there's a set amount of money coming in. There's this pot, there's this pot, so bills, there's entertainment, there's all this other stuff. So if you want to go on vacation, where are we going to get the money from? What are you not going to ask for? Because if you're like, oh, I want, a tablet, or I want this, or can I
more
get
bottles of ketchup?
Bottles of ketchup. I don't know why you're on that kick.
Kind of like the pigging.
But yeah, so it's like, oh, can we get pizza? Well, pizza, for 5 kids, you're getting 3 pizzas at $15 a pop. That's a lot of money.
They each want a bottle of ketchup. That's a lot of money.
I should have just bought ketchup.
I know.
But it's like, if we get pizza, that's another $50 that we can't use on a vacation. Trying to help them see the balance of finances. And so I've I said no a lot to my kids. We talked about that last episode where it's, the power of no. College, they have paid for their own colleges. They figured out like scholarships and grants and all that other stuff. And thankfully they get a stipends from the VA because I'm 100% disabled through the VA. But it's like beyond that, I don't have the money to pay for college for them.
Yeah, I really try to teach my kids to save. I think that's one thing, when we go into, it was hard. I just trying to get them to understand that. And I think I did that for a little bit when they were younger.
Mm-hmm.
Cause like, I know Kira would be like, oh, can I have this toy? And I'm like, okay, well, how are you going to save up your allowance? Oh, can you just buy it now? And then I'm like, no, we're not doing the debt credit system now, already.
Yeah.
And so I think there was one day, like, she got really upset that I wouldn't get this thing. And so I did for you to, I opened my account and I go, Kira, this is how much money I have in my bank account. Can I afford that?
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, I'm sorry. And then I felt so bad because, like, for the next 3 days, she's like, you don't have to get us food. You don't have to. I'm like, yeah, I do. I'm your dad. I mean, of course I got to get you food. Kind of stuff.
It's just, I want you to understand that
Yeah. And so I think doing that really did help and just kind of like, okay, I need to pay the debt off. And I've definitely used Dave Ramsey's debt snowballs,
mm-hmm.
and it does work. It's amazing how fast it works and how fast you get stuff down. And it's just, it's such an achievement when you do it on your own. Because I've done the debt consolidation thing. I've done the don't pay and then negotiate that way too, which is horrible for your credit. I'm still recovering from that.
I mean, you can repair your credit after that.
It's such a scam. Don't do that, people. Kind of thing. And each time when I got out without filing bankruptcy or getting a loan from, mommy,
mm-hmm.
It felt great. It felt like I achieved something and I wanted to grow, and it just starting over and over again just sucks. And I think for me going, how to build my future is that last section that we want to talk about. I mean, I really am doing what I tell my kids. I'm like, hey, you're 18, you can open up a Robinhood account.
Yeah.
I go, and you get paid, and it's a side gig, whatever. But you got to think, do I really need this higher end makeup palette? Can I just use regular makeup kind of thing? And I started investing that stuff. And I tell them, like, every week, just start small, even $10, every week, or,
mm-hmm.
$100 a paycheck is what I recommended, because there's enough math that shows usually if you put $100 away just in a bank account at like early 20s, you can retire at 45.
If you invest it like in a Roth IRA, or something like that, where it's because of the compounding interest, it grows fast. I mean, there's calculators online people can play with. If you put $1,000 a year and then for 10 years, then just let it sit at like 6%, 8%, and then see what it looks like when you're 65, it's massive.
Yeah, and it's great and it's hard to not touch it when you're
mm-hmm.
going through hard times.
Right.
And it's like, oh, we really need this. But I think that lesson I learned when I lost, like, I felt happy. Like, I think I was almost at the 500,000 after my divorce, and having them cash that out and only coming home with 45K out of that because
of 500 grand
because of the penalties and fees.
What the? I'm not going to swear.
And I was just like,
you could have bought a lot of damn ketchup with that,
dude. That's
I was so deflated.
Oh,
and frustrated, and to build that back up, it's just I'm not even.
I think it would have been valid to get an attorney and sue them at that point.
At that time,
that's that's almost $500,000 of loss that they basically took from you.
Yeah,
because they didn't do what you asked them to do.
And it's frustrating. And it's frustrating because, trying to get that back. And I've seen that with like Bitcoin and even the Robinhood, like we had this year where I think I had almost 3,000 saved up and ended up having to cash it out because, tragedy happened
mm-hmm.
and we had to travel a little bit and all these expenses that I don't have credit cards, and I have a couple now, but I just didn't ever charge anything because I live. If I don't have money for it, I don't buy it, kind of thing.
Right.
And so everything that I have bought, like these Legos, stuff like that, I actually kind of budgeted, and I did kind of steal a little bit from, oh yeah, I don't need to pay that right now, kind of thing. And that was a big mistake there. But But I have had less anxiety because I either pay cash or I don't do credit card debt, because there's nothing worse than having a credit card with like it's $3,000 on it and the interest is 27%, and you make $100 payment but only $43 goes to that. You're like,
right. Well, and like
sucks.
I have a few credit cards, and these are credit cards I've had for years, and it's always like you pay it down, something happens, and because you used your cash to pay it down, now you need that's and credit cards are such a boondoggle of debt. It's ridiculous. But I've got like 35 grand on credit cards. It sucks. I've been carrying this debt for years, and I'm just, it's like you can never get ahead. And this is where it's like, I'm not mad about it, but like I carried the debt from, primarily from both divorces, and it's like, I'm sick of it. And so when it's about, moving forward in the future, that's why, like with the house, I was in my second divorce, whenever there's divorce, there's always like plan A, plan B, plan C. And what I tell clients that are doing it is like, plan A is you're trying to be the nice guy, you're trying to be good, do the things, all that, to where you're not trying to screw her over. Plan B is even split, equal, whatever, Plan C is if you won't take A, which is going to be better for you anyway, and you're now balking at B, then screw you.
Yeah.
Fight me for it, right? And so I was prepared to where it was like, okay, if you were not willing to take what I was offering, which was like, you keep just your credit cards, I take everything else, even though it's joint debt, right? 50-50 state, but I get the house. If she was going to push back on keeping the house and it's like, sell the house. All right, you want to sell the house? We'll sell it as is. We might get what we paid for it because it's under construction. I'm renovating it.
Yeah.
And you can have half the debt. That's going to save me a ton of money.
Yeah, a ton of money.
And I didn't want to do that. That wasn't the goal, of course, but it's like that was the potential. But now that I'm, now it's just me, now that I'm moving forward, all my kids are grown. They're all, my youngest is in college, but she's paying for it herself. It's one of the things that I think about too is longevity. A lot of people don't know, like Social Security, it'll probably be around by the time we retire in some form or another. It may not be exactly what it is now.
Yeah.
You can always kick the can down the road in politics, but there's a maximum amount of money that you're allowed to have before you start losing some of your Social Security benefit.
No.
Yeah.
Was it like $250?
I can't remember what the actual, I think it's like $140,000 ish. But here's the thing. They looked back for the previous 5 years. So if your finances, like, because there are a lot of people that will they'll set up a trust or they'll put things in their kids' names right before they retire, thinking they're going to maximize Social Security. It's a 5-year look back. So in this next year, one of the things that I want to do, my oldest brother's an estate planning attorney and very, very good. I'm going to set up a trust and shift everything into the trust so that I own nothing.
Yeah.
And then that way, if and when I get Social Security, if it's still around, whatever format it is, I've done all this before that 5-year period, but there's also a protection of liability. If somebody were to sue me, they sue me. They can't sue the trust. It's like an LLC. The whole reason why I have an LLC as a therapist is not the whole reason, but part of it is to protect me personally. They can sue the LLC. It's harder to sue me personally, but they can't get my personal assets because it's part of the LLC. But to protect myself even further is setting up the trust. And so there's a little bit of upfront cost, but as I'm restructuring and building forward financially, I got to protect it too.
Well, yeah, and that's what kind of the whole point is, at our age, 48, they always say there's never too late to save, which is true. It's just not as big.
Right.
But, things like setting up the trust kind of help protect your family and you if something bad happens, still putting that money in every paycheck to, a Roth, or I think that's why I like Robinhood, just because you can do $10.
Yeah.
And it kind of gets spread out.
Yeah. Back when Bitcoin, all the cryptocurrency jumped up 4 months ago. Yeah. You were like, you got to get in. So I invested in crypto.
Good.
I've lost half.
Yeah, me too.
Because all of a sudden it dropped again. Thankfully, it was only $30. So I now have 16 something. It wasn't much, but I was like, I'll play with it a little bit. But did you know that most people don't even have a will?
Yeah, I do, because it's being in healthcare.
Yeah.
It's like, do you have a will? Do you have
it's like, I think the stat that I found was 61% of Americans don't have a will. But here's the problem with a will. When you die, your estate is taxed. anything that you give to your kids is taxed as income. And if you don't have a will, everything goes into probate. And so it takes even longer for your kids to inherit, and even more comes out of it.
Yeah.
And so it's like that planning ahead, building for the future. People think, oh, I need a will. No, that's not a good way to go. Having a revocable or irrevocable living trust, there's a lot of different structures out there besides a will where you are protecting what you've built so that the next generation, if you want them to inherit it,
Yeah.
But what would you say is what is one of the biggest things that you wished that you had known before, that like anybody watching our audience, anybody who's thinking about their finances and building forward, what advice would you give based on what you've experienced in your life moving forward?
I mean, I wish Robinhood existed back when we were 20.
Uh-huh.
Because I'm really good at paying into things, and saving it, and it's nice seeing it grow. And I think I started in Robinhood pretty much when it first came out.
Mm-hmm.
And I was trying to buy stocks here and there and stuff like that. And I think I would have, if I'd go back, I'd hey, go buy Amazon stock.
Right.
No, but if you didn't have that in there, I'd literally give the same advice I'm giving my kids. I mean, take $100, what you're making, put it away. Even if you make $120, then take 25% of that and put it away, kind of thing. And just always commit to that.
And pretend it doesn't exist.
Yeah, and you don't. And I think that's why 401ks work pretty well, because people can't really fuck with it, and they can't get it without a lot of paperwork and stuff like that. And so I just maximize your 401k as soon as you get your real job, and then save, and kind of go from there. And then only buy, and just enjoy life. Spend the money on experiences versus crap that 100 years from now, this might not even be a house. This might be.
Oh, this won't be a house. I know who the construction company was. I'm fixing stuff.
Well, no, I just meant like it could be gone. Everything you have is gone. Like no one's gonna know my name. No one's gonna know your name. And one of those things is, live life to the fullest in a way that your stuff doesn't own you.
Yeah, I like that.
Unless it's ketchup, then I'd buy it.
Again, the ketchup thing.
I think he takes baths in ketchup.
I think one of the biggest...
Is it a giant fry? You just put yourself in
I mean, he brings rice back here, so I have ketchup everywhere. It's all over me.
Jason.
It's on your shoe, dude.
It's everywhere. It's everywhere.
Yeah, it kind of looks like. No, I think for me, there are two big shifts that have happened in the last 2 years for me. The first one is I want to buy my time back. We trade time for money, and we do all of our stuff with that money, but we have to sacrifice all that time.
Yeah.
And so there's the shift of instead of trading time for money, I want my money to buy my time. Being able to live experiences, go on vacations, things like that, spend time with my kids and grandkids. The second big shift that has happened is money is just a tool. It's a shovel. It's a hammer. That's what money is. We're so desperate to make more money because we think that the money is what gives us what we need. The money is the tool that gets us what we need. And if we change the way that we focus on how we view money and how we spend money, take the emotion off of it, then it really loses a lot of that power over us, and we start controlling what we do with it. And so I don't feel that anxiety that I used to. I don't fear the future like I used to, because now I'm looking at, the money that I make and some of these opportunities and, trying to build this podcast and the business that we have here that doesn't make anything yet. But it's an investment. The money is a tool to help build something that if it succeeds, more money comes.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's the big one too, is for me, my anxiety went away. I was dating somebody that she had a side business. She'd go buy stuff and then resell it, and she'd go to the Amazon return store kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, man, how do you live like this? And she's like, one, I love it. And two, I could have a $30,000 a month.
Yeah.
And I take that money and basically take my kids somewhere, do this.
Yeah.
And she was really good at most of the time she had everything paid off for the year by March, and everything after that was just free money.
Yeah,
and
she
I'm
used
like,
it as a tool.
Man, but she's like, but I don't stress if I don't make that.
Yeah.
Like, that's all bonus. Like, if I can do that,
Right.
it's great. But I live within my budget.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the biggest thing is live within your budget. That will help your anxiety. You know,
to live within it, you have to know what it is.
Yeah, you gotta know what it is. So writing it down, you know, do that month. Start with a monthly budget, and then go to the weekly. You know, start small. Because when I looked at yours, oh my god, dude, I was like, what the fuck, James? It's like, is that an art?
And to me, I'm used to it now. It's like all it is a picture of where I stand right now financially. That's it. And like that color coding, I have like blue for anticipated expenses, red for things that have hit the bank but they haven't cleared all the way. Green is when it's all the way through. And then because I anticipate costs and put those in there, I have it all totaled so I know exactly how much money I actually have available. Instead of my bank account showing, $500, I might only have $200 because there's a couple other things that haven't even been charged yet, but I anticipate it all. So when I look at it, it's a picture of where I stand. But you got to be on top of it. And I'm not afraid of the money anymore. Even with the debt, I'm not really scared of the debt anymore. I hate it. I'm getting rid of it, but I'm not scared of it anymore.
Yeah. I think medical bills are the only thing that derail me.
Yeah.
Honestly. But anyway, hopefully that'll get fixed soon.
Right. But I am looking forward to, and if it's a year and a half from now when I sell this house or 5 years from now, at some point I'll be debt free. And when that debt is gone, all of a sudden that frees up the money to do the things that I want to do, have those experiences.
Yeah.
But like you said, it takes a plan. You got to write it down. You got to know where you are. And you
go from there.
Yeah. There's a lot of different ways to do it. Dave Ramsey's one of them. There's a lot of different processes, a lot of different plans, but do it.
Get on it. And like anything, like working out, stuff like that, it just takes the dedication and the time. It's going to be frustrating at first. It's going to be overwhelming at first, and you're going to adjust things according to you, but just take that time to stop, look at it, and you probably have some shame on things that you've bought. Like, holy crap, I've spent $16,000 on shoes this year. It's like, okay, well, if that's a thing for you, cut it down to
I cry over my ketchup.
It's ketchup, man. But taking that time, and I will admit that, like, when I did that, it really helped my anxiety. It really helped me stress less about things. I can honestly say I'm really good at paying all the bills, and on top of it, it's just when I do something stupid that I suffer for the month that I didn't have the budget. That I was like, oh, I need this. When really it's, oh, I really want this. And I need to get my head out of my ass and not do that. And it took 20 years because people don't realize when you're really poor growing up and you start having money, you want to catch up.
Yeah.
And psychologically, you have to get over that and go, okay, I don't need to catch up. I don't need to have all the crap I had as a kid. I don't need to have this, this, and this. I mean, we did chase the Joneses. I mean, in my marriage, we had $1 million home and we're doing all this crap. And I would look and go, why?
Yeah. I mean, I have a BMW, but it's a 14-year-old BMW, 12-year-old BMW.
And you do all the maintenance on it?
And I work on it myself. So it's like, I mean, it's still more expensive, but
we're just
not more expensive than a Lexus.
Fancy Honda.
Fancy Toyota. I think it's Toyota. All right. Well, hey, glad you joined us in this conversation because, this is an important one, especially like trying to build for the future. So, if you enjoyed the content, follow, like, subscribe, hit that bell for notifications when we get our next episodes out. And
stay classy, Kansas City. Go Bears.
Yeah, whatever.